Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we began with the resolve part of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Today, we're gonna go the beginning of the trial. So, if you have today's episode, make sure that the subscribe to the channel. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. I knew it! I knew you were there! Or, I guess, I know who you are. Witness says, please state your names and occupation for the court. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosanaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. So he really is the Dick Gumshoes of Japan, then. Gotcha. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. The author renowned throughout the capital, in fact, yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat. Sensational success by Soseki Natsume. Who the heck are you? Oh my goodness. Struggling student from Providence, please. You need to be on in me. I needn't. It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. Will all of you please relax? Call me Soseki even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? I knew I had a feeling we would be seeing him again. I never thought it would be sooner or later. Tread carefully, Susato. The author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over soon before it's begun. Yes, of course, I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget of him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosanaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you, see? Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Oh, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present, but what business did a writer such as yourself have being in the scene, Soseki-san? Well, you see, I had been asked today to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. A professor over there, in fact. With my father? With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story about 2 former students who study in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. Thus, secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scrubber my privacy. Haha. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me. Alright. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I expected before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her. That detective I am at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosanaga. Thereby, the entire party departed quarterly for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Not again! But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. You gonna get cured, my dude? Oh my, Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had to work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray, was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But if only I had, I'd never have seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. They share the same voice, so I don't give a damn. Here we go. Why does he still have the freaking towel? Oh wait, I can see why. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch the crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I wonder that was a caterwaul. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes, that young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly. What? I saw blood on the blade, and proved to be that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence. What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene. Well, let's examine the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would have possibly identified her killer. What? Your Excellency, if you will cast your eyes over the photographic pic of the crime scene once more. I see wine, the mask, the bottle. Oh, goodness me. The pen. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. The owner's initials have been engraved into the bonded barrel. R.M. Raymond Mombi. The initials of the defendant. No! The fountain pen will be admitted mainly as a critical evidence. So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel. I don't understand. The prosecutor Auichi of 9 months ago had none of this man pose. Counsel for defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san! Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryotaro, pull yourself together, please. Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. Okay, let's see how this goes. The witness scene. As always, let me just check on what I need to do. Stop, Chief. I want to see our evidence. Oh my god, the wine, the mask. We never get a chance to see her face, her head. Something else. The dress. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Yo! Oh yeah, he did say something about breeding kitties in the credit scene. What the heck is this? And I can't do the thing yet. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. Why in that disguise? I managed to catch the crowd when I suddenly heard a cater from behind me. Cater wall. I ran into the beach island once where I found a pair in question. Yes. That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand. I'm gonna press the 1 and the L.
Hold it!
Stab wildly? You actually saw her do it? Oh, indeed. The terrible spectre, the terrapin, inspector, bloody torrent, the author's more torment. Every sight and every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least, of the future literary sensation. Counsel, what on earth was that shrill, imminent scream? Oh, no, no, what are you insinuating? I'm a manly Japanese man as you. I wonder if I might interject here, Soseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression. Were your words just now, I believe? So do you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you've described? No, yes. I know what I saw. My ears didn't deceive me when I heard the scream, and my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could polish it in Alter Wall's newspaper cereal. It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cad may take a macabre turn. I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become. Oh dear, how awkward. Too bad, too sad, we're pressing him for words. I saw blood of the blade. Let me go back over there. Nah, we'll keep going to the right. As always, I'm trying to speed way my through when I'm not doing the right thing at all, so. She was stabbed multiple times? How can you be sure of that? Very simply, from the blood of the blade. The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade rise up in the air. Yes, that's right, I saw it too. Oh. And I noted there was blood on the blade already on the point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene. Yes, that's right, I saw it too. And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly. Yes, right, I saw it too. Maybe a year in London was too much for him. It sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your arguments is sound at least. Well, as I said, it's my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Yeah. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course. Oh, that's just sad. That's just sad. He got you there. She got you there. Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness. Oh no, I just have so many thoughts whirling around in my head. It's all I can do, stand here, wide-eyed and mute. Goodness, my dear, you really must try to calm down. But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? I don't see why either of them would have any reason to lie. What you must remember, I think, is that witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, a delusion, even. Delusion. What's important is that we determine the truth, and there's only one sure way to do that. Yes, with evidence, of course. Spoken like a true judicial assistant. During witness testimony, you can use R to pick up piece, blah, blah, blah. We only got 2 evidence. Yeah, we know what to do. I may lose 1 strike today. We're not gonna get it for a perfect 1. I know what to do, Father dearest. I know what to do. Yes! Alright then. Consider the details of all evidence in the court records against each statement to find inconsistency. I hope I'm up to the task. Don't forget that you can have the witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember? So those wide eyes are quite unforgivable. And besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl. You're right. I need to listen to their testimony again from the start. On the day, blah, 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 blah. Dagger in... astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, and she was stabbed. Astride, dagger in hand, and she stabbed wildly. The pen the victim was found grasping in her hand, it carries the initials RM. But where's the murder weapon, goddammit? They stated it was the freaking pen, right? The pen was the murder weapon?
Yes!
Go back. Hey, I knew I did say we're gonna lose a strike, didn't I? I did say that we're gonna get a strike out of this. Because they said the murder weapon was something, right?
Yes!
So our only option is to press the other two. Got it. Not starting out right in this. Okay, back to your left. Let's start at the beginning. As always, as I stated, I always find myself trying to find the answer right away, maybe because of the freaking details. But no. As always, we had to start from scratch. Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it wasn't the first time I wore the swimsuit before I dipped in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the English woman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried test outfit was the answer. Being able to blend flawlessly into a crowd is an important part of the detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water. But there was no need for you to blend into the background in the assignment, really, was there? If that made you late arriving on the scene, I think perhaps your priorities were wrong. It be like that sometimes. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at this moment.
Hold it!
You're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Saseki-san? In more literal terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens. Kya! Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors aren't one describing things so. Saseki-san wasn't at all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. I said bleach. Yeah, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun. Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand. I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. Or, in more literary terms, I did crab and beetled off hut-wise. I ran into the beach hut where I found the pair in question.
Hold it!
Wait, by pair you don't mean to say. How could that be? No, you must understand. Obviously, I mean the victim and the defendant, Raymond Bombi. Oh, it would have been helpful if you could just said that from the outset. If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes. Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish, very foolish. It really was an outside chance. I just wish I realized that before I said something silly. So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut? Well, it was a sorry sight. A really grisly sight. I parted the northern curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body, and the victim sprawled on the sand. My glass is very cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes. How thoroughly appalling. He doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Soseki-san, can you confirm the Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder? You like a literary man's opinion? Yes, yes. I saw blood and blade, it appeared. What are we looking at? Ascribe to certain witness statements. Single death, stabbing from behind, piercing a lung. Are we talking about a single deep stab wound, the cause of death? Pupil constriction was observed in the victim's both eyes. Death would have occurred within minutes. So we're talking about the cause of death? Are we talking about the cause of death right there? Well, I spent like 5 minutes. I could have thoroughly looked at it.
Objection!
It really was the cause of death. I didn't even look at the freaking thing 5 minutes ago. I just assumed it was the pen, and what they stated was the whatever was stabbed. With the accusatory cry and just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What's the meaning of the menacing pose, Counsel? I'd like to witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? Who? How? Not you, Soseki-san. The query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon. And yet that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, Counsel. In the postmortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Soseki-san? Me? You claim to have seen Membami-san in the throes of the stabbing victim. Yes, I did. Widely. Didn't matter which one. But both of you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood at the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and? It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if the single stabbing had it already occurred. True. Then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant, in fact, withdrew the blade from the victim's body. Bloody? That can't be! Excellent work, Susato. You exploded at them with the objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in the trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the show. You're right, there were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair. Slander! My head is quite inadequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment that she had to withdraw the blade ready for her next strike. The witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. But we didn't even press that guy. We showed the answer on The inspector. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her action to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young Yoko boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with the demon's cold-blooded composure too? The prosecution demands an explanation, and it has better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife? Ah, yes, good going for the jugular. Huh? What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was so she could save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she could have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury. Indeed, giving her the time to hold up this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. The point is, being a medical research assistant, Mabami was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem the best we can expect is young Yoko. Indeed. Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. I respect to the slip-hold assertion just put forward by the Yoko Defense Counsel, I mean. Slipshod? An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young Yoko hopeful has modicum of knowledge when it comes to law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not of one iota common sense. Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of defense counsel assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly.